guys, welcome back to our channel, Los Tucs. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and for even clicking on this video. If you are already subscribed to us, thank you so much. It means a lot to us. Also, if you have not watched any of our previous videos, make sure to click on our channel and all the videos will be listed down below, as well as in the description bar. If you guys click on that, all the links, I'll put them down below. Easy way to get to all the videos. Yeah, this is a part 2 video to our love story, journey, relationship, all of the above. And we already did a part 1 to this. If you guys have not watched that part, it is the how we met. Then make sure to click on the link that I'll put in the description and go watch that video. It has a lot of videos and pictures, so you guys could kind of, you know, feel and see what we were talking about. We included a lot of things in that video, and we are gonna do the exact same for this one. We're gonna put and insert videos and pictures so you guys can kind of like go along the journey with us. The second part, as I'm sure it's in the title or the thumbnail, it is the dating part of this like what was it again? Mini-series to like our relationship and where we are now. So
Abby's gonna go ahead and start it off with where we left off the last video.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to get as detailed as we can. There was a lot of years of our dating phase, so
we're gonna try to shrink them.
We might not hit a lot of like super detailed pieces. If you guys are interested in those sections, then feel free to comment, let us know what areas.
Yeah, we'll just let you know like in the comments or something.
Yeah.
This takes us back to where we left off in part 1 of this mini series. How come I can't say that? Back in still 2015, for my graduation, we left off on T came to my graduation, we graduated from LABI, etc. That part of our life, how we met and like up to then, was very short. As I'm sure if you saw the part 1, you'll see it was pretty short. Again, we got to know each other so much during that time. After that, I remember, or we both remember, we kind of went over it together, so we're both gonna kind of be talking, but we remember that we started just talking even more. We would text now, like actual text messaging, not just Snapchat. We would also like call each other. T didn't have an iPhone back in the day. Now he's on the good team, but we couldn't FaceTime and stuff like that. But we would call each other and just talk about so many things. We were in that phase of just like truly getting to know each other and also figuring out what we wanted, you know? We didn't know if this was gonna lead to like a serious relationship or what it was, you know, gonna end up being.
It was a little more for you too, because since you were older, she was a little bit more like
established, I guess.
Yeah, and more like serious on like what she kind of wanted.
Yeah.
And then I mean I was still a kid, not like still a kid, but like I hadn't really gone through much in the sense of like maturity, so I kind of still was down for whatever.
To reference a little bit, when we met, I was 20.
22?
I was 22 and Samuel was 20 at the time. For reference, I'm now gonna be 28. Samuel is gonna be 26. So we were pretty young when we met. Like T said, I was a little bit more like, because I was older, I guess, like advanced and matured a little bit more. Plus, they say women mature faster than men. So yeah, meaning I had like a job, I had a car, I kind of, you know, at the same time, I had a lot of help from my family. Me and my siblings have been very blessed to have both our parents, and you know, I know for a fact now, being with Samuel, that you know, being in a one-parent household takes a huge effort and toll on your life. I knew that like I was there where I was because of my parents. So in the very beginning, like I was kind of like, okay, well, it's okay, you know, like he'll get there kind of thing. And that's like a huge story in itself. But to sum it up, I think Samuel, and you can elaborate, but like Samuel really had to like grow up very quickly. Like I said, people say women mature faster. My mind was already like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? Where is this gonna go? Where is this gonna lead us to? While Samuel, I feel, was just like in love, you know, it was just kind of like, okay, well, I'm enjoying this as we go. There's no rush. And and stuff like that. Back to the beginning, that we just started talking a lot. We started hanging out a lot as well. So since I had a car, I would most of the time go visit Samuel in Chino, which is where he was living at the time. I remember like our first hangout was when we went to go play volleyball.
The volleyball tournament?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a tournament that a few churches would come together and have, even sometimes it, like, friends that weren't even in churches, or just people at the park would come up with their own teams. I ended up inviting Abby and a couple of friends, and
yeah, it was literally, we have a picture, I'll insert it. Me, Samuel, obviously like his church, his sister was there, his mom, but our friends was Rolly and Sarai went, I believe, right?
Alan.
And Alan. That was the first like real hangout that we had like outside of LBI, outside of just that phase. It was so much fun. It was a good time. As the story progresses, like we said in the previous part at the very end, that our relationship was like up and down, just like any other relationship. We were not perfect. We were not like special. We really put in a lot of effort, you know, into dating each other and being very intentional about like what we wanted. So also with my family and like my dad, I am, like I said, Hispanic, and I have a very traditional family, very traditional parents. So I remember even for us to even get to the boyfriend and girlfriend stage, it was very hard. It was
super.
My dad didn't make it easy on Samuel.
Her dad was very protective of his daughters.
And he's always been like that, not just with Samuel, but with everybody that we would hang out with, literally.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a struggle, because I think one of the second hangouts that we had, more in the sense with maybe your family this time, was a trip to Lake Paris.
Oh yes, so that was early on also in our relationship. Samuel came to our very first like family outing, which was to Lake Paris. But yeah, say hi to the vlog.
Hi vlog. With the V.
Played a lot of...
Yeah, we played a lot of volleyball, of course.
Yeah.
That same day, that was the first time I ever spoke to like her dad about me and Abby talking and wanting to get to know each other. That was about maybe like what, 4 months into it?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, we can't recall dates. We're just kind of giving you like the
timeline.
Yeah, timeline of like what we could remember, you know.
Yeah. And then so that same day, I ended up having a chance to just talk to him, and like I let him know, hey, you know, your daughter and I, we want to get to know each other a little bit more and so forth. And of course, the typical dad he just sits there, smiles at me, and he's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, you mean as just friends, right? And I'm like, oh. It's gonna be this type of dad.
A good dad.
Yeah, I mean, give him props, because I mean, if it wasn't for that, then I wouldn't have like stepped it up and shown him that like I was serious. But it was tough like at that moment, and from there, I think just to like around how kind of protective he was, we didn't get serious until maybe a year and a few months after that. But we'll get there. No,
yeah, so literally we were like unofficially dating, because Samuel would come and go and I would come and go. And at the time, Samuel was actually still attending LEBI. I would go visit him on campus. This was around the time that our friend Ellen, friend Gabby, started dating as well. And Gabby was local to where I lived here in Orange County. Alan was still at LEBI with Samuel as well. So it kind of ended up working out that Alan had a car, and every time he would come visit Gabby, he would bring Samuel with him. And that's how we did it for a long time. They actually had a Bible group, a Bible study at Gabby's like residential area where they lived. And we would just go and attend a Bible study, and it was such a great time. We actually ended up building like such a good, strong friendship with them. because of that as well, because we were kind of going through life together.
Alan and Gabby were starting to talk, and they were going through their stuff. Same here. And then, I mean, Alan and I would like talk about our relationships together.
Same as Gabby and I. And that's how it started for like us four and our relationship and our friendship and stuff. It was really cool because we were doing it kind of like at the same time, you know? And so that was like super helpful. And after that, like he said, it legit took like a year and 4 to 6 months for Samuel to finally go speak to my dad again. I remember this day like so clearly. I was at home and I believe 2 of my cousins were there. I remember Samuel to my house after. I didn't even know that he was gonna talk to my dad actually. He came and I was like, whoa, what are you doing here? And he was like, hey, can I talk to you like outside? And I was like, yeah, like, what's up? We were right in front of my house and there was like this little bar and we sat down. I think you were sitting on a chair or I was sitting on a chair and the other one was sitting on the bar area. He was like, you know what, like, you know, I really care about you, like, I love you, and you know, like, I really want to give this a try, and blah 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 blah. And I was like so confused. I was like, what are you talking about? Because in my head I knew like, you can't ask me out until my dad kind of says yes, you know. And I didn't know he had gone to go talk to my dad.
Yeah, I remember I kept bugging her dad. It was like for a week, and he finally agreed. He was in his office at church, and so I went, super nervous, and then
he was like,
yeah,
not you, my dad. He was like, you again.
I was like super nervous, and we talked. We got to the point, and boom, he was like, okay, I'm gonna give you a chance. All right, you're good. Give me the okay, and then I went straight to Abby's house, and that's where, if you want to continue. Yeah,
and so going back to when he came over, he was like saying all these things and I was so confused. And then he just says like, do you want to be my girlfriend? And I was like, what? I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I literally was like, but what about my dad? And he was that type of parent. And he was like, don't worry about that. Like, I already handled that. Like, I already talked to him. I was like, okay, calm down. So I was like, yes. And I remember like just like jumping onto him kind of thing, and like we hugged and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe it. And I was like, tell me everything. A little chismosa over here, right?
Super.
Yeah, he just like tells me everything, and that was that. We became boyfriend and girlfriend officially. So after that, we were officially dating, and just so many things happened that we can't even like really go into every single thing. Yeah, we had like so many adventures, so many good times. And I will obviously insert pictures and little videos so you guys can see that little timeline. There you go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Tomás Hernández. No manches, lightly. No, you can't take it out. You have to keep going.
No, you seriously look like a natural. Alright, I'm done.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Jesus. Heck no, yeah. Hey, we're just a little. No.
Tan chulo, tan chulo.
LA, baby.
Hey, da, da, da.
Do you want us to walk slow motion?
Emily, come out.
I'm right here. Now it's mine.
Hey.
You want me to just send it to you?
About waking up your brother.
Do es que tú, you're making me yell. He's probably like, nah, he's probably gonna work out like 5 tomorrow. No, I'm gonna wake him up and all you're gonna hear is, Sammy, shut the hell up. And then he's gonna be like, Sammy, shut the hell up, fudge.
Hello, welcome to Paco's Tacos. This is Paco. Can I take your order?
We did so many things. We hung out with so many friends. We built relationships. It was just such a good time, like looking at the good aspect of the relationship. We just evolved, honestly, with time. I think we became older, we became wiser, we became more serious. We knew what we wanted. We knew where this was possibly leading to, you know, God willing at the time. And yeah, it was just like I think we were both in the same mindset with that area.
I mean, throughout those years, we would have like a few talks. I got to be able to kind of understand maybe her past relationship. I didn't really have any serious past relationships, but I mean, compared to where I was, we sat down, we talked about where we want to be and what do we want to do if this really is going to go to that point.
Yeah.
And I think from there, that's where we kind of just had the same mindset. And I mean, again, like she states, we were both at different points. I still needed to step up in a lot of areas, but I mean, we were both willing to to take those steps forward.
Yeah, and one thing I always tell a lot of people or friends that sometimes we talk about like their relationship if they're not like married, and I get to share that like testimony, you know, because it truly is a testimony with them about like Samuel and how proud I am and was of him and his like growth, you know, because like how we said, he was younger, his mindset was just more immature, if we're being honest. He changed a lot of those things, you know, and it wasn't because I forced him. It wasn't because like, oh my gosh, like if you don't do it, you don't love me kind of thing. Like it was because he wanted this relationship to work, you know, he wanted to be with me and vice versa. Like I wanted to be with him, and so he took those steps that were necessary to get there, you know, and he knew that I wasn't willing to compromise certain things because, you know, that's what my heart longed for. That's what I had prayed for. That's what I had communicated to him, and he knew that, you know, so he was on top of it. Like, did it take a lot of time? Yeah. Like, did it take patience? Yeah. Like it took all of that, you know, but we both put in the work, you know. He showed me that what I was saying was important and that he, you know, was gonna do what he had to do. He got a job. At one point he had like 2-3 jobs. He got a car at the time, but he crashed actually. White Honda, was it a Honda?
I missed that car. it was a white Honda Civic, but it was a natural gas. Oh my god, I missed that thing.
Yeah, that thing was so cheap too.
Unfortunately, there was just a lot of stress on my body with all the jobs I was doing at that time, and a lot of it was because we'll get a little bit more into it later. But as Abby stated earlier, at an early age, I did only just have my mom and my siblings, and so a lot of it was both because I mean things that I wanted to be able to provide for Abby and then for my family.
Nonetheless, like I always give T props for stepping up, you know, and being the man that, you know, he was always created and destined to be. And I know and I knew that he had it in him, and he just kind of needed that little push, you know.
And I think that's kind of where the key part is. Like she states, I mean, I wasn't forced, but she was there to kind of give me that push, give me the support to be that person. And it was a lot of work, but I think the main thing that kind of just helped us out was just sitting down, understanding where we were at, making sure we were on the same page, and then moving forward with that. She was ready to move forward in life and take the next steps, and I wanted it. I just needed to make sure I was ready to take those steps with her.
Yeah, and so not even just that, but you know, we live so far away from each other that another hurdle or another, you know, obstacle is just always having to travel really far to see each other, you know. But when you really want something, and when you really want to be with someone and you love them and you care about them, you put in that effort, you know. I know that we both put in that work. I would go, he would go, I would come, vice versa, everything. Yeah. Samuel would even sometimes take the bus a lot of times, like from Chino all the way to Orange County, and it would take him like 3.5 hours, I remember, to get from over there to here in a bus. And he did what he had to do, you know, and it wasn't easy and it wasn't cheap. Again, we did have so much fun dating. We took so many trips. Like I said a little earlier, we hung out with a lot of friends. We went to the Bay Area while we were dating twice, remember? Yeah,
because I'm not sure if we ever mentioned it, but Cuco, my best friend, he's from the Bay, so yeah, he would invite us a lot. He would always want us over there, but he went 2 times. One time, was it just
you, me, Jesse, and Helen?
Yeah, it was just a few of us, and then the second time
it was like a good group of friends.
We ended up making a good. It was for his birthday, no?
Yes.
Yeah, we took a big group of friends because it was for his birthday, and
like a big group.
It was super fun, and
so much fun.
We'd have instances like that. I even ended up going to Mexico with your family.
Oh yeah, we went to Mexico. Just so many things. Like we worked at the fair together. We did so many fun things. Now they're just like beautiful memories, you know. Like we remember, and it's like, oh, it was so much fun. Like
and then I mean, as we stated, you know, I would do music, and during LABI with Cuco, we had a lot of churches that would invite us. Even after, we had like a group of friends where same thing, we would go play at different churches. I would go help out them at their own churches, and
Yeah.
Abby would come support. And yeah,
I would literally go to every single church that they would go to, play, sing, whatever it was. Like, I was always there supporting T. And
told her she was like my manager or something.
yeah, I know at one point, like towards the end, before Coco went back to the Bay Area, he was like, "You're a manager, like you." I remember he'd be like, "Boo, go get me waters. I need waters," like like jokingly, right? Like, but he'd be like, "Go get me. Make sure those mics are like ready, boo." It was so funny. Like, it was such a good time. But now also with the good times comes bad times, you know, comes very, very hard times. And although we kind of mentioned, you know, a few of the things that were not so much like hard, but more of like obstacles, like with the whole like transportation and coming back and forth, etc. One thing that we dealt with at the time was, you know, like I said, Samuel came from a home that he only had his mom, you know, and Samuel's dad lives in Guatemala, and so his mom was here, and that's who, you know, he's been with for most of his life. She was obviously very protective of him. Like, he was his youngest, he's the baby of the family. He also has an older sister and then an older brother.
Yeah, and so I mean, the way my family was broken down, I personally felt like she just didn't want me to like either follow some certain steps or just make some mistakes.
We're also not gonna put like anybody's business out there, so we're not gonna give too much detail, but we do want you guys to be able to relate to our story. You know, if you've gone through it or you're going through it, know that you're not alone. Like, a lot of people go through it.
Yeah.
Throughout our relationship, like once his mom, you know, warmed up a little bit, and we had a good relationship from the very beginning. Where there's struggles, yeah, like every other relationship, you know, like just like my dad not wanting Samuel to officially date me for whatever reason that my dad had, you know, dad had his reasons, and so did Samuel's mom. But along the way, while we were dating, I remember his sister and I did become very close in the very beginning. Like, I want to say like maybe like the first 2 years of us dating, or a year and a half dating, we were like super close. It was literally always her, T, and myself. Whether we worked at the fair for the first year, us with Jasmine, she got us in, and it was such a good time. You know, we built a really good friendship and relationship, but just like any friendship, there was ups and downs with her and I, you know. They were very similar, and we have a lot of the same like personality traits, so we would clash a lot, and it wasn't anybody's fault, you know. It wasn't her fault, it wasn't my fault or Samuel's, but it was just like that character aspect. Like, we would just clash, and we had a really hard time. I think we had like 2 big major fallouts, and it was really hard, like for me, and I'm sure for her, and I'm sure for Samuel. It was really hard to, you know, date someone who like I just was not getting along with his sibling, you know, and it was very hard. We had a lot of encounters that were just rough, and I would explain to Samuel that like it was really hard for me, and like I'm sure he probably heard it from that side because he lived with her, that it was really hard for her, and it was just like, it was a tough situation, and a lot of tough months, a lot of tears, a lot of things. I remember, I think it was like one time that I was like, I can't do it, Samuel, I can't, and I wanted to let go of like this relationship because of that, you know. And although I knew like it wasn't Samuel's fault, it was more of my fault and his, you know, sister. Samuel was just kind of caught in the middle of it all, and I think that's the only person that I truly ever had like a big fallout with, and that, you know, unfortunately it hindered our relationship. Mostly, I guess I would take ownership, like my fault, because I'm in the relationship with him, and you know, maybe at the time I should have been a bigger person and done what was right for him. But you live and you learn, you grow, and you know, I think those times really truly made me grow.
Everybody just kind of had their own play into it. I mean, you had your reactions, your feelings. I mean, were there maybe certain cases, certain scenarios that could have been handled differently? Of course. Yeah. Same thing with me. She said I was caught in the middle, and it just should have been my job to kind of be able to manage both sections, because it was my girlfriend, and my sister. We've been able to kind of not even control it, but be able to put boundaries with my sister. And hey, this is my girlfriend. You can't speak a certain way to her. You know, I don't appreciate this and that. Same thing with my girlfriend. Hey, this is my sister. You know, like I know you might be feeling this way, but at the end of the day, it's not worth it, or you know, different things like that. And there were instances where, you know, I didn't do that.
Yeah. But I also think because it was like he said, he never really had like a serious relationship. It was your first time going through this, and it was new to him, you know, and he never you never expected to go through this, you know. I think there was a lot of things that all three of us could have just done better, but we didn't. Like we said, that was a little bit of like a hard, probably one of the hardest and only hardest, like hardest when I mean like the hardest. We had a lot of fights ourselves, you know, a lot of arguments, a lot of pettiness, you know, and within our own selves. So we weren't perfect. I still had a lot of growing to do. Samuel still had a lot of growing to do. It was a lot of work.
Yeah. And I think the main thing there is, just in case if you guys are going through it, it's bound to happen. I mean, she could be as mature as possible. I can be as mature as possible, but the matter was that, I mean, we were still getting to know each other. Yeah. And the more you get to know each other, the more you're going to find out things that either you don't like, you like, things that maybe hit a certain nerve for you.
Get to know each other's families too, you know? Like, I got to know T's family, and he got to know my family as well. And I'm sure there was a lot of things that maybe he didn't see right, or whatever it was, you know?
A lot of little things that turned into big things that either we allowed to turn into big things for no reason, or maybe it was just the carelessness of like maybe me not working on something that she asked me to do, and then that causes like things like that.
Also just not being mature at the time. Give yourselves credit if you're going through this, because I think now that we reflect back on it, or that we're talking about it, I feel like we could have given ourselves a little bit more credit, you know? We're young, we're 23, 24 years old, like that's young, you know? Like you're in your early 20s, like there's bound to be mistakes, there's bound to be errors, and all of that just leads to growth. So just a little side note, me and Jasmine, his sister, are super good now. Like we made up, and it's just been so great ever since. I always tell T, I feel really sad because I feel like there was a lot of lost time, because we have such a good relationship when we're good, you know, when we have like a really good relationship and like a good bond. But we did want to mention that because it is important, and I know a lot of people maybe go through it not just with one sister, but two sisters, three sisters, you know, or brothers, or suegras, or suegros, or whatever it is. So it's very important to say the good things, but also say the bad things. After all of those good and bad things, adventures, you know, a lot of working, a lot of school, we were everywhere. Life was everywhere at the time, which is good, but also, you know, it was a lot.
Yeah, that was in between 2015 to end of 2017, early 2018. Yeah. Well, Abby, I don't know if we mentioned it, but you were actually going to Vanguard University. 2018, you ended up graduating. Yeah. Ended up graduating that year, and we were still going strong. And
I graduated in 2018, and it was such a big accomplishment. Everything put together, like, you know, life, and then like a relationship, and then just all these things that you're going through, school on top of that, and then I was working full-time, and it was such a beautiful graduation. It was so cool. I got to graduate with my sister, also with my friend Jocelyn, with my friend Barb's, with our friend Marilyn, just so many people that we actually went to LABI with, which was super cool. And then the end of 2018 comes.
Yes. 2018, what a year that was.
After all of those years, 2016, 2017, finally 2018 came, and it was a good year.
Very good year. Later that year, there came a surprise.
a very long awaited, anticipated day surprise.
Yeah. So that's actually gonna roll us into the next video. In the next video, we're gonna move forward with the next part of our journey.
Stay tuned.
Also, that is gonna be the last final part 3 of this little mini series of our journey, of our love story.
Thank you guys for listening and staying along with us.
It's nice to be able to share it with you guys again. Hopefully you guys maybe run into some things you guys might be able to relate.
Yeah, that's really why we're doing it, so you guys can relate to the experiences that maybe we've gone through already, and we just want to let you guys know. Or maybe, you know, you want a boyfriend, or maybe, you know, you're waiting for that ring, or whatever it is, whatever stage you're in, you know, we've all been there, and yeah, you're not alone. So keep holding in there. You got this, guy or girl, you got this.
Both of you. If you're still single, you guys are together, y'all got this. Like, subscribe, hit the little notification bell, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Peace out.